Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another Master Grade review, and today it's another P Bandai kit, as you can tell from that box right there in the back. So this right here is the Master Grade Dwadge Custom. So once again, when it does come to premium Bandai releases, this video would not be possible without those absolutely amazing people over at Bai. So if you do want a Dwadge custom of your own, or for any harder to get Gundam kits, then check out that link down there in the description. And as usual, for your first order, you will get 1,000 yen off. But anyway, here we go. So that right there is what you get once you snap that Master Grade Dwadge custom together and do nothing else at all. That is it, just out of the box, straight built. So in general, this right here is almost exactly the same as this right here, which is the Master Grade Dwadge, which is based, of course, on the Master Grade Dom. But I don't have one of those. So for the most part, what I said about this right here in the review holds for this right here. So I'm just going to focus mainly on the differences between these two kits for this review. And if you want more detail about the kit, you can check out the one about the Dwadge. So first off, starting out with that full 360-degree spin, so you can see every angle of this kit right here. And once again, this is extremely similar to the Master Grade Dwadge that we saw before. Of course, the biggest difference is that color. So this is maroon and navy blue with orange, and honestly, I'm not sure if this would be many people's cup of tea, but it is surely very, very unique. I know the Dom is from the 80s, so that means that the Dwadge and the Dwadge Custom would be too, but this even looks older than that. This color scheme gives it a bit of a 70s vibe. That with all those big old pieces of plastic make this look extremely dated. So this can be either a good thing or a bad thing depending on your own visual preferences, but honestly, I think this is awesome. If you like your kits rocking a really old school and retro vibe, well, this might be for you. It is pretty unique, without a single doubt. So compared to the Master Grade Dwadge which we saw before, the head on this is very different. It doesn't have the same sort of Dom-esque vibe as this right here, and honestly, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. And the pain in the ass in question is this back here. Not only does that move down into the recess of this section, so that means you can't really turn the head side to side all that much. It's also extremely narrow and prone to breaking. Just look at that. That is gonna go. I'm gonna break that at some point. I know that for certain. But the absolutely worst aspect about it is it likes to pop out with a very tiny touch. And honestly, it is not all that much fun to reattach, especially because it feels ever so delicate. Oh, danger right there. On top of that though, it kind of lacks that cool Dom charm. That kind of plus-shaped visor that they have in red always has looked so cool to me. So this is a little bit basic looking in comparison, but once again, that's just a personal opinion. The next huge difference between the two is the shoulders. On the Dwadge here, it's the standard Dom looking shoulder, which is just a piece of armor. But on this guy right here, the Dwadge Custom, we've got two extra verniers or thrusters around the back of that. Considering it's got a whole bunch of them down here on its booty, a whole bunch in behind its feet there, this thing is packing a lot of thrust. This armor though, it's a little bit, well, like the rest of the kit, it's a bit on the basic looking side, even more so underneath. Just look at that. Once again, kinda retro, and again, I find that a bit on the charming side, but some people might despise that. Next up then, the chest is quite different on both of them. This segment here with the clear piece, that has a nice red rim on the Dwadge, probably on the Dom too, but this again is quite basic looking in comparison. More than likely it's meant to be much more armored than what we have on here, and same probably goes for the chest up here, which does have a little bit of extra armor on these little wire type sections here. Once again, this is one heavily armored looking mobile suit right here. Dropping down to the crotch zone now, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of difference here as well. There's some kind of thruster or intake in the front of the Dwadge Custom here that the Dwadge does not have. This just has a pair of flappy flaps right here, whereas this one's flappy flaps are either side of that particular vent or intake. Besides that though, from the waist down and around on the butt, it seems that these are physically identical, once again besides the color. So I'll just give them a spin around there so you can see yourself. I may have missed something, I may not have. But either way, those are two awesome, big, bulky mobile suits. And speaking of size, so there is the Master Grade Dwadge Custom beside the Granddaddy 3.0. as well as the Master Grade Gundam Mark II. So even though this is a bulky looking suit, it's about average height. Maybe slightly above. Finally, there it is beside the Master Grade Zaku 2.0 and the Master Grade Double Zeta Verka. So now moving on to the accessories, and there is the Master Grade Dwadge custom with absolutely everything that it comes with, and that thing sneaking into the side of frame right there is another extra. Once again, if you've seen the Master Grade Dwadge review, I mentioned everything about this in that review. Basically, this is left over from the Dom kit, I think. Can be used with this kit if you want to. I think the handle is not necessarily compatible with the hand, but it can still be held if you want. But I'm not going to talk about this in this particular review, but it is in there. So as for what we get in the box, as usual with the premium Bandai kit, we get a fairly small sheet this time of water slide transfers, the exact same heat tomahawk, and the same banana sword that we got with the standard Dwadge. And the only thing that is actually unique to this kit accessories-wise is this right here, which is the beam cannon. So once again, the banana sword in here is just one big old yellow rod in a handle. This has the push-out little attachment point that is for using with these poseable style hands. And while I'm mentioning that, this is one of those kits with the fully articulated hands. So of course, these have all the articulation a standard hand would have, in its digits anyway, and this flip-out little peg in it. So the banana sword just attaches in just like so. It's an extremely good attachment, so much so that you don't even have to close the fingers, but that wouldn't make a lot of sense. And that right there is what the Dwadge custom looks like with the banana sword equipped. So when this isn't attached, we've got this opening and closing little attachment part, so you can just pop the banana sword in like this. As heat sabers actually have a big old stick that heats up to super hot temperatures, it's not like a beam saber, so this doesn't disappear when it is not in use, so it just all attaches up there, up there on the shoulder armor, like so. Next up in here, we've got the heat tomahawk, so like a heat hawk, but it's double-sided. This is all just made out of gray plastic. There's not any color details on here. It does look quite nice, just like with the banana sword. This does have that flip out little tab for attaching it into the hands, but I was looking at this while building it and was like, this is a really silly design. The main reason is, for example, if you're chopping into a filthy Federation sympathizer, well, technically it can only go this deep without damaging itself because this wire sticks out like this, so it couldn't go all the way through said filthy Federation sympathizer without that wire getting damaged, and I assume that's a very important functional part of the heat tomahawk, so that's a bit of an odd design right there. Filthy sympathizer! Anyway, that pops into the hand just like it would have with the banana sword. So moving on to the only thing that makes this kit truly different accessories-wise to the Dwadge we saw the last time is this right here, which is the beam cannon. And this is one honkin' weapon right here. So this right here is a fairly simplistic looking weapon when it comes to the model kit. It does have one hell of a seam line down its entire length here. Not so bad here at the top because that pops onto the top of it. This handle back here has the same attachment point for attaching it into the palm. We've got a drop down segment here where it holds onto it. And I will mention this is very hard to attach and even harder to pose. There's only really one pose this can do, and that's this one right here on the box. Besides that, it can't really do much else holding this. We also have a clear segment here for the sight, so you can paint that whatever color you like. And we have one more moving handle here, which is the usual swinging front grip. So like I mentioned, attaching this is quite difficult. So first you've got to get it into the palm of the hand like we saw with the banana sword. It holds in a very strange angle, a very forward leaning angle, I guess, just so it can throw it up over its shoulder. Once you actually get that into the hand, you need to swing it around to get the front grip into the other hand, and in general, I find that anything that's pretty hard to do not in front of a camera is exponentially harder to do while reaching past a camera. So voila! That is pretty much what the pose looks like right there once complete. Not the most exciting or dynamic pose around, but hey, it's a Dom. Anyway, let's get this up on the shelf for that shelf presence test. There is a lot of bulk to the Dwadge, but I find this kind of muted color does mean that it doesn't pop as much as something like the standard Dwadge. Potentially the Dom, but the Dom is a bit dark too. But then again, it depends on your setup. If you had a totally white setup, it would pop even more. But it's big, it's bulky, it's awesome, it looks retro as hell, and if you're into your DOMs, this will look fantastic up on your shelf, just like it does right here. So now moving on to the articulation, and as usual, we're going to be moving from that head down. And also, build strength wise, this thing right here is pretty much a brick. Besides that thing. Anyway, that would have been in the way of the articulation. So here we go. So we've got the typical kind of very limited DOM neck, so it can look side to side like so, up and down like that, but that is it. If you want to move that mono eye, just pop off its face like that, and then you can move that up like so, down like this, get that banana sword as a tool, and there it is, side, all the way to the other side like so. So that's pretty cool. I'ma leave him looking to the side. Once again, this guy is a little bit limited at the shoulder. There is the front and rear movement. I'm going to stick by my rule. If anything does fall off during the articulation, I'm going to leave it off just so you can see if anything is loose. Personally, I don't find these are loose very often though. That's an odd thing to fall off. The shoulder armor here is independent to the arm, so it's just kind of held on around it like a cuff there. That can move all the way around like so. We have a little flappy up front. Inside the body here, that arm is attached via a ball joint, so it's okay. There it is all the way down, all the way up, so that's pretty good. We have that full rotation at the upper arm. There is that bend right there at the elbow, so it's pretty good. Well beyond 90 degrees right there. So the hand is that perfect grade style one, so we've got a ball joint down here, a bit of a flex at that point, and of course you can put this in any pose that you want, including the important ones. Woo! You know, just in case you see some Federation sympathizers. The ab crunch we've got here is quite basic. There he is to the front and back, just like that right there. So not much side to side, but it's not nothing, so for a bulky boy, not bad. There's the rotation from there to there. So once again, a little bit limited. We do have an opening cockpit, but as far as I remember, inside of here we do not have a pilot figure with this kit. Next up, we've got some skirting armor, which flips up like so. That's about all that does. Nothing here at the side, nothing here at the big old booty. As far as I know, the waist joint, or should I say the hip joint in here, has been updated since the standard DOM to be a universal joint, not a ball and socket. Also, we do have a bit of a drop down inside the hip there. So that allows that to move down and up ever so slightly like this, which does mean it should increase the range of motion in the front kick, which, ooh, just knocked off the armor. That's more my fault than the kit's. But anyway, that's as high as it will go. As for out to the back, don't expect much because that booty, but hey, could be worse. And as for the splits, once again, it's blocked by that side armor, so that's as low as he'll go, without modification, that is. Full rotation right there for that spin kick. As for the bend at the knee, we've got a 2-point bend, which gets us that right there, which is, once again, for something so bulky, not too bad. Down on the ground to test the functional movement. As usual, what I mean by that is what we can get out of the ankle joint while the foot is still planted on the ground. So there it is all the way to the front, and that, once again, is impressive for something oh so bulky. We do have a moving set of verniers in here. They can move up and down ever so slightly. As for the movement to the back, that is quite blocked, so that right there is all you'll get, which is essentially nothing. And there is side to side, once again, very, very basic. More blocked towards the outside than it is to the inside. But what can I say? It's a DOM. So yeah, what can I say? A posing machine? It is not. Articulation on this kit is as basic as it comes. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and it's fairly obvious that the Dwadge custom right here is bronze tier. This is not up to spec for a master grade in 2020. However, this isn't really a master grade from 2020. This is based on the Dwadge from last year, which is based on the master grade DOM from, well, a long time ago. Yeah, my phone ran out of batteries, I don't know. Either way, if you've built a DOM before, you know exactly what to expect. Just that with some added new features like they've added in the Dwadge. So it is somewhat of a 1.5, not necessarily a DOM 2.0. Because, well, I guess Bandai are filthy Federation sympathizers and don't give us enough Xeon stuff. But either way, it's still a unique kit. It looks very unique. It's got that old school vibe. If you like big, bulky, Xeon, and old school looking, then this is definitely for you. You probably have been shafted multiple times before when it comes to the release of kits, and when they do come out that they're usually of a poorer quality, so you're probably used to it by now. So if you like kits like this, so if you do like Dom kits, you do like big old bulky master grades, but don't mind the articulation is a little bit on the extremely basic side. Yeah, you get what I mean. Anyway, if you want one of your own, there's a link down there in the description. You can get yours through Buy. That is where I got mine. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will see you next time.